I'm basically the premium LinkedIn stalker. If you ever see
a very important skill these days,
yes.
Let me tell you. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special Smack episode about the Young Hoteliers Summit 2020. We spoke to Joanne and Patrizia of the organizing team of the Young Hoteliers Summit 2020 about the motivation behind organizing the summit, some of the features that are going to happen at this year's summit between the 16th and the 18th of March. By the way, check out YHSglobal.com for more information. And we also spoke about all the outfits you need to bring if you're a delegate on your way to Lausanne in March. Enjoy.
Girls, great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Those of us that have never heard about YHS, give me the brief explanation of what the concept is, a little bit of history maybe, and then we'll get into what to expect from the upcoming edition in 2020.
So YHS stands for Young Hoteliers Summit. It's a 3-day conference here in Lausanne at Ecole de Lausanne. And it was founded by 5 students in 2010. And the whole idea was really to bring students together with industry professionals, experts in their fields, and to create this network that really hasn't existed before. And so this is the 11th edition coming up. So it's been running for more than 10 years, which is crazy. And we invite students from all over the world. This year it's 40 schools sending delegates to Lausanne. And they attend the panels, keynote sessions, and just can meet the professionals from all sorts of different industries.
Mm-hmm. And what the students also have to work on is the YHS challenge. And every year we have a different provider. So for example, in the 10th edition, we had Ecole come in. And the students basically had 24 to 48 hours to work on the Ecole's F&B playbook. And they would have to pitch or present it, and the winners get some kind of voucher or prize from Ecole, like a stay or something like that.
So the whole thing is organized by students.
Yes.
Explain to me how that works. So you guys said it was founded by students. Obviously, the people that founded it are no longer at the university. Naturally, we should hope. Having said that, every year the organizing team consists only of students, but it changes every year, correct?
Exactly. So that's the crazy part about it that a lot of people don't really know. It's fully student run. It's the largest student run summit in the world, and it's a changing team. So like you said, it's different people, 30 to 40 people every year that organize everything from scratch, basically. So to uphold this consistency and to have it going for more than 10 years is especially crazy if you think about the fact that it's not the same people involved. Mm-hmm. And for example, I'm doing it for the second time around, which is what we also try to bring people back because they can leverage that experience that they had. But it's always solely students, and this is done next to our coursework, and we don't get any credits for it.
Yeah,
and
we're not paid.
We're not paid, so it's fully
We'll talk to some people about that.
Which also a lot of people don't know, because usually for these kind of things in other universities you get credits.
So what makes a YHS so special for you guys that you commit every day organizing this big 3-day event? Why do you do it? Why do we do
it? So for me, it's really, I'm also head of community this time. Last time I was a logistics assistant, which was great because you can see into every little thing that helps to bring the whole thing together in the end. But for me, it's really about bringing students from all over the world to Lausanne and give them the opportunity to meet each other, which is also a great dimension to it, but also meet industry professionals. For me, that's the main thing. So that's also why I said I want to be head of community this time around, because you get to really bring people over to Lausanne, to Switzerland, that have never been here, that have never been exposed to any sort of conference in this format, and to see that joy. And also when they apply for it, like looking at those videos, that's for me the main motivation.
Mm-hmm. For myself, it's my first time doing YHS, and so my roommate was actually the logistics assistant with Patrizia as well, and so I'm head of speakers for this edition. And for me, what I wanted to do was to be able to help the team, select the right kind of leaders to bring in and to inspire the different delegates, because it is their first time. They don't have the same opportunity as EHL students do, where we have a lot of professionals, maybe sometimes even alumni that come in, give talks, presentations, they recruit from our school. So it's good to give those delegates that exposure as well, and that's what we're aiming for.
Head of speakers, head of community, give me a brief introduction as to what you guys do in your specific roles. I mean, head of community, I imagine, is a big job. Head of speakers, you basically are in charge of the program, so not the most irrelevant people we have sitting here. Give me a quick introduction into what you guys are doing in your roles. And you're both studying full on within your semester at the same time, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly right. So for head of speakers, I'm basically the premium LinkedIn stalker. If you ever see
a very important skill these days,
yes.
Let me tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically what we do is we kind of help the core team establish the theme, and then we build on the panels from there what we feel like should be spoken about at the conference, and also kind of help speakers develop what their keynotes should be and what they should deliver and how they should push across a message. And so we try to work with schools faculty to get the right kind of people, we get the right contacts. We started contacting speakers, moderators, our panelists quite early on. So
I think that's an important point, that every year there's a theme to the conference. Mm-hmm. This year's theme is the growth mindset.
Power to the people, the growth
I'm
mindset.
So sorry.
You still have a couple months to train that.
This is live, people.
I've talked about it so many times, and still sometimes it just escapes my mind. I'm sorry, there's a lot going on at the moment.
Yeah,
so I think a big role of Joanne and her team as well is to have that consistency throughout every session, throughout every person that we bring in, to have that really linked back to our overall theme, because that we've seen that in the past editions being a bit not that high priority, and that's also one thing we've made a lot of changes to this year's summit, and one of our main priorities is really that everything from the theme to every speaker goes back to the challenge and ties back to the challenge, to really give the delegates the toolbox that they can take something away from every discussion they attend to actually put that into their solution for the challenge. So having that link be much, much more important is one of the main things that we're aiming for. And they're basically in charge of making sure that still that we have speakers there, and make sure we have speakers. And for me, me and my colleague were co-heads of community. We're actually sharing the position, and our main activity is really just reaching out to the schools, bringing back some schools that have attended in the past years, and also bringing new schools. So this year, another goal of us was to bring in more schools, for example, from South America, because our exposure in Europe and the US, so North America, was always very good over the past 4 to 5 years. But now we've brought in a school from Guatemala, for example, more schools from Australia. Also exposure in Africa was, we got more schools there. So we're really trying. And also this year was the first year we had to turn away schools, which is sad, but then also shows that we're actually growing still.
And we're also being more selective.
We're also being more selective, exactly. And so that's my main. And it's so inspiring, because when you review the applications, it really also shows you why you're doing this. And that's my main part. And then we organize just everything on an administrative dimension, like how they arrive here, visas, and just babysit them during the conference, basically.
Okay. Before we talk about this year's edition, explain to me the setup of the organizing team. So you said there's a core team. Explain that to me in 2 sentences, and then what departments are we looking at? Because it sounds a lot like any professional conference, minus the fact that you don't get paid, which we will need to figure out. So explain to me how the organizational pyramid looks like.
So we have 3 core members. Actually, this time we have 2 girls in the core team, so Kimberly and Tanyen. And we also have Rohit.
So it's 3 people.
Yeah, 3 people. Rohit's in charge of marketing, community,
rankings,
marketing.
That's what you're saying.
Well, marketing, you have 2 heads. So
Okay.
it's basically
It's very complicated.
each core member
Yeah.
is in charge of about 3 to 4 different departments.
Okay.
And each department has a head, and then each head has about 2 to 6 assistants depending on what department you are.
Okay. And those departments are community, speakers.
F&B, marketing, logistics, finance, sponsorships.
Wow. So how many people all in all in the YHS team?
30 to 40. 43.
Yeah. This time we have 43 people.
Wow.
And actually, very important to point out, we're 80%
Oh,
women.
yes, that's true.
Okay. All right.
80% women this year round.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been fun. But we're all in the same semester. So sometimes it does get a bit crazy.
Yeah, it does, because we're all in our final year. All the HODs are in their final year. So it's a big challenge in terms of coordinating your own academics, your project work, as well as organizing the summit.
So this year's theme, how did you guys, so it's about innovation, it's about change in the future, if I understood it correctly. How did you guys choose that topic, and why do you think it is important to speak about that at this conference, and how do you guys do it maybe different than the classical conferences where we all like to talk about innovation in the industry, but it's good to have actually students to bring a new mindset to it?
Yeah. It's very much so in a sense where it is changing, change is here, it's no longer coming, right? And for us, it's very important as younger students and almost graduating that we start to discuss these topics because they're essentially what the issues that we have to tackle in the future.
I think a big part of it is also the factor of the people. And really, we really want to go back to that, because in the past, like, a lot of the themes were about technology coming in and what is changing, and there's now voice-controlled services in hotels, and we just really wanted to go back as well to like the roots of hospitality and what is it actually about, and how people have to be empowered and at the front of bringing innovation to the industry. So I think also with our 3 core values for this year's edition, so empowering, community, and transforming, I think that we really try to bring that in everywhere, and also that aspect of community, which is of course very dear to my heart, is also just it just connects well with actually bringing it back to the people themselves and not focus on technology too much.
So what's the program then for the 3 days? Is it, who are the big keynote speakers? What are the sessions?
Can you say?
Give us the nitty gritty, Joanne.
It's confidential for the moment.
Or tell us as much as you can for the time being. So if I'm a delegate and I'm listening to this, what am I going to expect?
So you're gonna arrive on Sunday.
Okay.
Then we have activities planned for you in terms of just getting to know everyone, getting to know the fellow delegates, getting to know our team as well, because that's also one main aspect, to bring our team to the delegates and have them interact with each other as well. And then on Monday it kicks off. So Sunday evening is just an apéro. We all just socialize, get to know each other. So before everything starts to happen. And then Monday, the conference kicks off.
Yeah, I mean, for us, in terms of panel content and keynote content, it's very much about I really can't say much. We also we can't really disclose who's coming at the moment. These will come next year.
Okay.
And
So when is it going to be released?
Around Christmas or a little bit after the new year. But, one of the panels for myself that I'm very passionate about is that I think we can kind of disclose a little bit. It's a lot about diversity and how it's not just about men and women. There's a lot more to it.
Let me torture you a little bit more, Joanne, with my questions about the program, or both of you, frankly. How do you go about building the program? So is it you? I understand there's a topic for the conference, understood. And then what? Is there a kind of a fixed program from the past years where you keep the setup? And can you give us a little bit of insights, if I've never been to YHS and coming as a delegate, or I've never heard about it, how do you go about that whole process of the program?
So we're keeping the skeleton of the setup. So we do still have about 5 to 6 panels, about 5 keynotes. And then after that, we will launch the challenge, I think on either day 1 or day 2. It's still to be determined. And then we give the students time to work on the challenge. We also give them YHS sessions where we have our key partners come in to give them a 2-hour workshop. We also have mentoring sessions. So we have,
which we started this year.
Which we did start this year, where we have industry experts, and we also invite other people to come in to kind of give them feedback on what they're doing, how they're performing, also how to pitch their ideas.
Which is one thing that we really brought in this year, an expert on public speaking. And just overall, we want to give them more tools with the keynotes, with the panels, with the mentoring sessions to actually perform much, much better in the challenge itself. Because in the past, it's always been very, very stressful. We also tried to release it on day 1 and not day 2 in the evening. And then they only have like 24 hours to do it. So it's really about also for the delegates to make it a more impactful experience and actually not
for them to take away.
Exactly. And also apply it right away in those 3 days. And then of course there's also some social aspects to the conference.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
We have a really, really successful gala night that everyone's always super excited for, which is going to be either on day 1 or day 2. We're still figuring that out. And in the past, it's been in the Olympic Museum here in Lausanne or in a 5-star property. So it's always, that's one highlight for the delegates that they point out in their videos a lot. And then we have an after party at the end, and just throughout the day, also these networking breaks, coffee breaks that we're trying to make much more interactive as well this year.
The 2 new things as well, we're trying to make the coffee breaks more exciting. So it's not just you stand by a coffee machine, get a pastry and go back into the room. You know, we're trying to make it more interactive, you know, very much more experiential.
Okay.
And also we're working with some of our partners and sponsors to come up with experiential booths. So to make their product, to help to
which
share
is
their
also
product.
more attractive to them than just having the normal booth that they always have. So yeah, we're trying to create an impactful experience for the delegates, but also for the industry.
Yeah, and we're also trying to make a few more sustainable decisions as well. Because we're not exactly branding ourselves as sustainable,
which is always a touchy.
We're taking the first step there.
So special service for the delegates. How many outfits do I need to bring? I need to bring 1 for the 3 days or 2 for the 3 days, 1 for the gala.
Yes, so that's a big.
Okay, the gala is a thing here.
It's black tie.
Okay, all right. So we need to be at outfit ready, and then there's an after party. On the last day. Okay, so we're looking at 4 to 5 outfits.
Also, bring flats.
Okay, very important point.
Running around, and it's going to be long.
There's some distances to cover.
So, did you guys choose them already? Or?
Yes, so we're actually officially done since yesterday. We're sending out emails. We started yesterday and are going to finish today. So they are currently being made aware of that they have been selected, and they have until the end of the week to officially claim their spot, basically. But yeah, so we have 80 delegates from all over the world, and they're now just organizing in terms of like booking their flights and everything, and deciding a faculty member are gonna also join them. But yeah, so they will be notified this week.
You spoke about impactful experience here in the 3 days at YHS. How do you guys select the delegates to join? You said you spoke of a video, or what's the process?
So that's also one thing that we're trying to standardize a bit, because over the past few editions, it's always been, because it's a different team every time, so different preferences on how to select actually the delegates. So we decided this year to have a 3-step process. So they have to submit a CV, an essay on a question, like a really short essay that we decided on, and a video. So especially the video for us is very important in terms of how they come across, and also that's where you see the motivation usually of someone. How creative are they? How we gave them leading questions. For example, if you were a hotel, what kind of hotel would you be? That question says a lot about people and like what they think of and how creative they are. You wouldn't think of how many people are just say, oh, I would be a full service hotel, and I'm like, really? Yeah. That's all you could come up with? But yeah, so it's a combination of these 3 things. We're not looking at, for example, oh, this person has the highest GPA. It's really about mainly motivation, and then just in terms of what they also can bring to the summit. That's also one of the other questions.
Where there's a selection process, naturally there's heartbreak, because you will have had to turn down some people. Patrizia, can you tell me the most memorable video that you've seen or the most memorable application? What made it particularly good? I obviously don't want the name nor the school, but what made the application particularly good? And Joanne's already laughing, so you must have someone in mind.
She hasn't seen them.
Oh, you haven't seen them? Okay, all right. But give me an example of what made an application particularly good.
So one of our questions is, what's your personal definition of success? And another one is, what is your biggest weakness and how are you working on improving that? And you wouldn't think that, like, some people actually were so vulnerable and shared amazing experiences they had in the past and how they grew from it, and just the fact that they're so honest with us, people that they don't know, that have never seen, and how they relate it back to hospitality and like the further challenges that they will face, and just their honesty, I think, is what touched me most.
Yeah.
And then also just some people do crazy things in terms of creativity. They probably took 2 days to film that 2-minute video. Okay. So it really goes from taking probably 30 seconds to do this and to 2 days. So it's crazy how that changes. But I think their honesty and vulnerability, that's...
Give me 2 things, girls. Give me the best part about YHS in both of your opinions, and the most annoying part about YHS in your very own opinions. They were not prepared for this, so I'm very curious to see what comes up with this. Start with either one.
For me, at least that's how it was last year. The joy of actually seeing people for the first time that you've been emailing for weeks and weeks and weeks, and just seeing their face light up when they're like, oh my God, I know you. Well, we haven't met, but I know you. That's for me the best part. And the worst part is probably just how sometimes you have to remind yourself that it's actually coming in the future, but you're just working and putting in so many hours and it's still so far away. So sometimes you have to remind yourself of that. So it's sometimes that's the hardest part, because you do spend a lot of time and effort on it, and you know that there's a return, but it's still quite far away.
For myself, for speakers, I think sometimes the best part is actually being able to jump on a call with the speakers and actually find out that, you know, it's a motivation within them to actually pass on the knowledge to, you know, the next generation of hoteliers, and for us to have that common understanding. They inherently already embrace the theme and, you know, what we stand for, and that's always very good. For me, the most annoying thing, I don't exactly have the most annoying thing. It's just
that's
sometimes...
all great.
Yeah, that's all great. I think sometimes it's because, you know, you want to limit the size of your panels in terms of maintaining consistency, quality. You want everyone to, you know, have
say
time
something
to talk. And then sometimes you might have some people, you know, nudging their way into your panel. So, like, sometimes the most annoying thing, you know that they will be great for the panel, but you just don't have space, right? So sometimes the worst part is having to turn some people away. Yeah.
It sounds just like an amazing event, and you said you chose already all your delegates. Most of our listeners are not necessarily students at hotel schools. Can you also attend the event as an outsider, or is it just for delegates by students?
No, so the delegates actually are, of course, a very important part of the audience, but we also sell daily tickets and, of course, 3-day packages for everyone to attend. So everyone can attend. We're also opening it up for EHL students, of course. So it's open to anyone who's interested in it, really. We are currently setting the prices, so that's also something that changes every year because the team changes every year, but it's definitely open to anyone who's interested.
Yeah, and these are mainly for the keynotes as well as the panels. And so usually the rooms are pretty full and you get up to about 100, 200 people in Ola, yeah.
Ladies, this was great. Thank you very much. We have a tradition here on the podcast where we always end the podcast.
We weren't informed about this.
Where we always end the podcast with 3 questions that are the same for everyone. So I would like your answers each separately, one at a time. And there are short questions with a request for short-ish answers. Okay. My favorite part about hospitality is
people.
Agreed?
You can't just copy my answer.
That's what happens when you're just faster. Yeah, it's just making the connection with people.
The last trip I took was to privately, not for business or any of that. Leisure trip.
I just spent 6 months in New York, so like I just came back from that. I don't have time or money to go on other trips. Last trip was Chicago.
Okay. And the best part about Chicago, or the most memorable part about that trip?
The water, like having the city right next. No, have you been to Chicago? It's amazing. Yeah. Just the water
Lausanne
right
is
next.
Also right next
No. It's a different.
It's a different water.
Lausanne
is
the village. Chicago is an actual city. No, having the city right next to the water, that combination is insane.
Okay, Joanne?
I went to Singapore recently.
Okay.
She is from there.
I went home.
Okay.
The best part about Singapore...
No. The most memorable part about that trip.
The most memorable part about the trip, it was my dad's birthday. He
Okay.
turned 70. So I was there to surprise him for his birthday.
All right. The next big thing in hospitality is, in your very own opinion, it's not a right or wrong question.
My opinion's in the panels, so I can't exactly say what they are at the moment.
Okay.
Okay. Finding a solution for keeping good people in the industry and not having them leave just because of circumstances and environments. Because it's all about the people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. As always, don't forget to check out what there is to know about Smack at smack.media or on our YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook accounts. We'll see you next time.